Hello, welcome to this part of our presentation. I will talk about how to read XML by using SOX. What is SOX? SOX stands for Simple API for XML. It is one of the ways we can process XML file in Java. It is event driving API for reading XML. It means to read XML uh, files step by step instead of loading the whole files into memory at once. SOX bits the file sequentially means processing piece of one piece at a time. Uh, for example, it is like thinking about reading a book one line at a time instead of looking at the whole books at once. Uh, what is the difference between DOM and the SOX? One important difference between the SOX and DOM is that SOX uh, does not loaded the XML files into memory, but DOM mm, created a full restructure in memory, which can be heavy and slow for large files. So SOX is better for large XML file for reading. Process event or event handling. In SOX, the parser detects elements, attributes, and tags, and then call specific handler methods in our code, which we will better understand this part in Java code. Okay. uh, how SOX works? What are the common events for SOX? So we can see in the diagram in there show the each step of SOX how it's work from here it will start where we will end. What the common methods or event we will use for SOX, what they are. First step is initialization or a start, and this means the header tells SOX what to do when it sees some things like tags. Registration means like connecting methods. There is some methods which we will using for stocks like start elements, characters, and elements. They are event methods. They are automatically called it when so this is the start of tags or this is the text or end of element that special method will call for them. Running means it's like reading the XML file, reading the XML file by SOX and generating event. Event generation means SOX read one text at a time and called a special method for that text handler. For example, when it see it is a sort of tag. It's called start element tag. It's tags. It will be called character tags, so on. Uh, event hand uh, event handling means there is some specific method which will I used here. The most important is like start element, which will create a new tag or which is used for start of tag and the character for text and element for end of text. When this process will end when we read it the XML file completely, then it will be ended. There is some comment event for SOX, which can see here, like a start document. It's when SOX is start reading the XML file, enter document when the SOX reach at the end of XML file. Sorted element there is we have more element inside of this sort document, and also every tag is stored have a start and end, and there is some content between the element started element and elements. So what are the advantage and disadvantage of SOX? The most important is memory efficiency, means SOX does not need it and does not store the entire XML file into main memory, so it is suitable for large file. It is also fast because we did not store it, and the disadvantages is not no random access, means we cannot go backward. For example, when we read it in the XML file from bottom to down, but this is one way. We cannot go to back to the stored file. For that, it's not random access. And another is it is not good for a structured XML file, means we just read it the file. We did not store it in the file into memory to modify it the file or edit it the file or structure it the file. For that is not good for structured XML file. So that's all from our presentation. Now we will go to with code. Where we have some example of XML file that we have. There is declaration of XML file where this is show the uh, version, and also it show the type of encoding which is supported for all language. So we have in the root of tag which have some another tags elements. We have a student tags inside of the domain. We have this every student have name something like dots, age, and there is storage data for four students, and now we will use SOX and handler how to read this data from XML file. So we have there is one class which we created, and this class will be used to store and manage data about one student. There we have creating variables, and we set it getter and setter, which we can store the value from XML file to this variable, and after how we will get this value from this variable, and to print there is one method. We will print all information about every student when they read it from XML file. We have here uh, the main class, which is SOX example. Yeah, we have some libraries that will support the XML file, like reading SOX parser is for reading XML file. This is SOX parser factory. It will create object or XML file. Uh, this is written for file, input input files. So we have created object, and we created handler object, and there is the access to file or open the file by handler. If you could not open with the file, it will this one will get returned to some error. So there is the main part of your task. which we use. There is also some libraries for socks, like attribute. We can by calling this library, we can access to attribute attributes of tags, and we can, by the help of this socks description, we can uh, this is for a sort and end of element for tags. This is another one is helper default handler. So we have created our own custom handler by the name of student handler, is extend from default handler because we use override. This method there have three methods which when we read it the the XML file they will detect it which this is sort of attack or this is the tags or it is the element of or the end of element automatically that method automatically will call. So we created one object for one student there we declared one variable by the name of current element. It will be used like assign it every tag when we reach that one. So first of all, when we read it the XML file, it will start with a start element like this. So we will store this element to the current element and then we will check it whether this is a student or not. If it is a student, we create a new object for student which store all the information into a student, and then we will set the ID, and then it will go to characters and checking this the current element whether it's name, age, and dates will be store all the information for name, age, something like that. Before it will check whether there is uh, should not be ignored from content should it is avoid space when new line we will be sure that we before created object for a student. It's going like this. So when we arrive at the end of tags, so this method will be automatically call it. This will check whether the quality file name is a student or not. If it is a student means we record it for one student and then we will call the parent student and this will print for us uh, all the information about one student and then we reset it for we reset it the current element which was a student because we will try it for next tags. It's going like that. It's repeated until we read it all the whole XML files. So now we are going to run the files to see the output. So as we can see, this was all the content of XML file that will be created by SAX, dollar and printed here. There is 4 records in the in the XML file. If you want to, for example, we want to add more element. For example, I want to add one more student, like change the ID to 4, 1, 2, 3, 6. Save and then go run again. So now if we have 4 records for here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all about songs, how we handle how to read with the help of song the XML file. That's all from my side. Thanks for your attention.